FlossTube. It's me, Catherine, Needleberry Stitcher, filming another video. I don't know why. I think I'm out of practice, but I am super nervous today filming this. I haven't done a video in so long. Was it May? I think it was May when I did my last video. So thank you for those of you who are coming back to watch, because it's been a while, and I feel bad that I haven't filmed. It's just been a crazy summer. And if you're new and this is the first video that you're finding on my channel, welcome to everybody. And it might be a little chaotic today because I don't know exactly what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to show a little bit of progress that I've done. I did a little bit after my last video in May, and then I pretty much did no stitching in June, July, or August. Very little. I mean, I probably did like maybe 500 stitches through the whole summer. So it's only been in the last couple weeks that I've picked it up again. My proverbial stitchy bug decided to go on holiday and has since returned. So I'm very glad about that. I'm super excited today because I just got back from going to the Needlework Galleria in St. Charles, Missouri, which is just outside of St. Louis, and that was amazing. I mean, I've mentioned before on my other videos that there are no cross-stitch stores in St. Louis at all in the area. Like I don't even know where the closest store is from here. I've been to Stitchers Inc. down in Memphis. That's a 5-hour drive. I've been to Murfreesboro to Country Cupboard. That's 5.5-hour drive. I know there are some cross-stitch stores in Illinois, probably a little closer to Chicago area or in the suburbs of Chicago. Again, 5-hour drive. So I'm kind of in this little like section of the middle of the US around Missouri where I don't know where I can get cross-stitch supplies. So this was a real treat to go today. And I might not have gone. I'm not going to cut that out. I might not have gone today if it hadn't been for Corinne from Corey Creates. If you guys are familiar with her channel. She's also another St. Louis cross-stitcher, FlossTuber, and she scheduled a meetup last night, Friday night. She was like, "Oh, everybody, if you're in the area, you should come and meet up." And I was like, I really want to go to that if I can go. So I was able to book out of work a little early, just like I just took off from whatever. And I made my way over to St. Charles and met up with them. They went to a place called Buzzbull Creamery, which is a really cool place. I've been trying to watch my sugar intake and watch like the sweet treats and stuff, so I didn't have anything, but it smelled so good. Like walking in there and sitting there, it was really hard not to order something. So if you're ever in the St. Charles area, and I think it's a chain. I think that's what they said. It was a chain. So it might be in other areas, but if it tastes as good as it smells, which I'm pretty sure it did because the ladies that I met up with, obviously Corinne was there and the Sunshine Stitchers were there, which is meeting people in person is so cool. Like people that you watch all the time, you watch their videos. I mean, you walk in and you see them and you recognize them right away. And it's just this like moment where I'm like, I recognize these people and I'm seeing them in person. I've never met them before, but I know so much about them. It's just kind of a surreal kind of an experience. So I think I probably like slobbered a little and was like, oh my gosh, you guys, you're like celebrities to me. And then I completely made a fool of myself, but you know, that's what I do. So that's okay. So that was this weekend and I got some really cool fabrics today. It's so nice when you can look at fabric and touch it and hold it, and I mean, not too much. I mean, you don't want to get like oils and stuff on it, but just being able to see the true color in person rather than on a computer screen because I have to order all my fabrics online and you're hoping what you order when it shows up is what you saw on your screen, and sometimes it's a little different. And so it was really nice to shop fabrics in person and see them. And of course my favorite fabric dyers were there. I mean, it was wonderful. It was a really nice. Of course, you know, by the time I got to Hand Dye by Stephanie, she pretty much sold out Thursday night and Friday. So, because they started, the Needlework Galleria was Thursday evening, all day Friday, 10 to 5, and then all day today, Saturday. Oh yeah, I never said, today is Saturday, October 1st, by the way. 2022. And so all day Saturday, but this is the last day. So even when I walked in, I got there right when they opened at 10 o'clock, and Stephanie was in there. Again, another like moment of like, oh, because it's you know, it's Stephanie from Hand Eye by Stephanie, and she's just like, I don't have a lot left. And I was like, that's what I heard. I had heard that last night from the ladies that I had met with. So they were like, get there early because there's not a whole lot of fabrics left. And but I've still found 4 pieces of 28 count linen that are gorgeous. So anyway, and a few other little things, a few patterns. I got some Weeks dye work threads, and I got anyway, maybe I'll show that later on in the video if you guys are interested. If you're not interested, then you know, just watch what you want to watch. I've already rambled a bunch, which you guys know I do. I just do. I talk a lot, and you know, people still like to leave comments like, you talk too much, and I'm like, well, then don't watch it. But I love when people talk. I want to hear about people. When I watch FlossTube, I want to know what's going on in people's lives, because it's like, you guys are all friends. You're my friends. We're all friends. And when I get together with friends, whether it's just me watching a video or while I'm stitching, if I'm watching a FlossTube video, I want to know what's going on in my friends' lives. So that's important to me. And I know some people who watch FlossTube only want to watch just the stitching because they want to be enabled, or they just want to see like, how much did you get done, and totally different experiences. There are FlossTubers out there for everyone. So if you find that I'm not your style, if you don't like my rambly, disorganized, non-planned out videos, I'm not offended if you don't watch them. It's okay with me. So, I mean, FlossTubers, so many different styles of FlossTube videos, so many different personalities. We gotta just pick what we like. So feel free to turn me off if you don't like this. And otherwise, I'm gonna go ahead and get started showing some of my whips. Rewind or rewind, whichever way is, I don't know how this is gonna look to you, but whichever way looks like rewind with my fingers, if it's this, whatever. I'm gonna back up for just a second, because at the last video that I did have a giveaway, and it was for this Rosamond pattern. And I know there have been 2 more patterns released since this one, which I have ordered. I haven't gotten them yet. But again, I was total hiatus this summer, like not doing much at all with stitching. It was just, I don't know. I think I just needed a break. But I want to make sure that I still do the giveaway for this. I hope it's not too late. Some of you that maybe put in for, you know, it was for anybody who put Princess in the comments on my last video. And if you've already gotten this pattern since then, if you don't want it again and you happen to be the winner of this giveaway that I'm going to do right now, then feel free to decline. I can pull another winner. Or if you want another copy and you want to share it with a friend, totally fine. Whatever you want to do. So, but I do apologize that it's been this long. Like, that's a long time for you guys to wait for giveaway results. So thank you for being patient. But I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to do it live because I finally got another, I bought my daughter's old phone. When she bought a new one, I bought her old one from her, so it had twice as much space on it for me to record videos and edit them, because my phone that I was recording on for all of my other videos before this had half as much space, and every time I tried to process the video to load it to YouTube, it would say that I don't have enough space, so I would have to delete off like probably 50 to 60% of my apps, like delete them all off, so I'd have enough room to render the video so that I could upload it to YouTube. And then once it uploaded, then I could download all my apps. I got tired of that. So now I have a device that I'm recording on right now, which is my daughter's old phone, which has more storage, and all is on it now is my ability to do recording. And I'm going to do the giveaway on my phone here. So I'm in the random comment picker, commentpicker.com. I put in my last YouTube video, where those of you who wanted to participate in winning Rosamond, again, there were 95, looks like, based on, let's see, amount of unique comments, 95. So I am going to go ahead and hit the little start button, and we're going to see who is going to win the raffle. It looks like Karen Word. You're the winner of Rosamond if you would like to reach out to me, my Instagram is Needleberry Stitcher. If you want to reach out to me and instant message me, or I'll go back after I've finished filming my video here, and I'll leave a comment on your comment, and then we'll figure out a way for you to get in touch with me. You can just send me an email. It's needleberries@gmail.com, and I will get your mailing address and get that shipped out to you. So congratulations, Karen. And I hope you don't already have it by now. If you do, I really apologize, because again, it's a long time to wait for a pattern, and if it was one you really wanted, then you might already have it. But all right, so now that we have the giveaway done, now I'm going to start getting into, what do? My whips. And again, I didn't go back and look at my last video to see what I showed you in the last one. So if I show you what my main ones that I'm currently working on, and you've already seen them before, and I haven't gotten any progress since the last video, I don't know. So I feel like this is kind of like a clean slate. It's October 1st. We're already into fall, and I'm just going to say we're just going to draw a line in the sand, and this is me and cross stitching, and this is me moving forward. Sound good? I know, it sounds good. Okay. Because I'm really excited. I'm really excited now about stitching again. Maybe it's a weather thing too. Like once the weather gets a little bit cooler, and it's that fall feeling. It's just such a magical time of the year. It's my favorite time of the year. And I like to be outside, but when I'm come inside from a cool brisk breeze outside, or in the morning or in the evening when it's still nice and chilly, I love thinking and doing cross stitch. It just like warms my heart. A little bit of and if anybody's interested in what I've done over the summer and why I haven't been stitching it, I might do a life update at the end. So for those who don't want to stick around for that, I'll try and remember to say, okay, this is the end of stitching, and if you want to hear about life updates, that's fine. Not a ton of stuff, but you know, I'll fill you in if you're interested. All right, so my main full coverage piece that you guys have seen, if you've watched other videos, you've seen I've been working on Beauty and the Beast, and my goal for the end of June was to get a page finish across the second row. So I've got all of the pages across the first row. There's 5 pages. Those were done. And I was trying to work my way across the next set of 5 pages. And when I say page, I mean, in a Heaven and Earth design, typically they have, if you print them out, they are literally pages of the PDF that show, here's the first page of the pattern, and then the next page next to it, and the page next to that, and then it goes down. So it's literally pages. I use Pattern Keeper, and when I'm using Pattern Keeper, you still have an option to show the page breaks of each page, and I do that. And then I just kind of work my way across a row of pages. At least that's how I'm doing it on this one. I kind of have a bunch of different ways I've tried stitching, and for Beauty and the Beast, it seems to be the way that I've chosen. But all right, let me get this set up. I didn't reach my goal in June because, like I told you before, I haven't been stitching, but I did almost get to the end of this row. So I've got, this is the second row of pages here, and I've only got just a small little bit left, and then I'll be finished that second row. Now, this isn't, I was kind of hoping, and I didn't really know, but I was hoping that when I got to the end of the second row that I would be close to 50%, but I'm actually right now, I think, hovering at 45.5%. So I think there's another little, like 2 more full rows of pages, and then I think at the very bottom there might be like a tiny little strip across, like of pages. It's been a while since I looked, but anyway, I like Beast's eye. I think it looks so cool. I think his eyebrow looks really cool. I love her face. When I was doing this set of pages way back when, I was like, I can't just like cut off right here. So I've finished her face because it's so pretty. So anyway, that's where I'm at with this one. I did make progress on it since my last video because I think I had quite a bit up here still. So I've done like maybe that much of the page, a little bit up into here. So not bad. I mean, I'll get more done on it. It's not a problem. I'll get more done on it. I'm not going to finish it this year. Originally, I thought if I finished 500 stitches a day, roughly, that I would be able to finish it, but that was as of like April, May. And with not stitching for 3 months, there's no way that I can meet that goal now, but oh well, it'll get done when it gets done. That's what I'm saying, it'll get done. Because this is my focus piece. If I can remember when I'm editing this, I'll put my quad like up here. And my quad is essentially how I split out my focus pieces. I typically have one full coverage piece on the go, and that's my Beauty and the Beast. I'll have a fancy lady, some type of fancy lady, whether it's a Mirabilia or lavender and lace or some other type of fancy lady pattern that I have on the go. Earlier this year I had Roses of Provence by Mirabilia was my focus piece that was on the go, but I finished that one, which I showed in an earlier video. I showed that, and now my current piece is Sabrina. I am doing that in partnership with Suki, the Brown-Eyed Stitcher. So she's working on Sabrina and I'm working on Sabrina. We have the same fabric and everything about it is the same from a fabric and stitching perspective, except she's doing it without beads and I'm doing it with beads. And we're going to compare and see, and hopefully someday if we can meet up in person or get photos or something to show side by side. So she's going to have her version and my version, and we'll have them together so you can see that you don't have to use beads on a Mirabilia or a Nora Corbett pattern. You can still just find a matching color. There are bead conversion charts that do the equivalent Mill Hill bead color to the equivalent DMC color. So if you don't want to do a bead, you can look up on the Mill Hill website. There's a bead to DMC conversion. Find the DMC color that's the equivalent of the bead color and just stitch it. Just do stitching. I mean, if you don't want to do, you don't have to do fancy fabrics. You can do it on linen, you can do it on even weave, you can do it on Lugana, you can do it on Aida, you can do it on whatever fabric that you want. There are gorgeous, gorgeous colors of hand-dyed fabrics, and if you don't want to use a hand-dyed fabric, you can use whatever, white. Just, I mean, sometimes I think people keep saying they're so afraid of starting a Mirabilia, but you don't have to be afraid of Mirabilia or Nora Corbett. If you don't like beads, don't do beads. Stitch the colors. Stitch where the beads are supposed to be. If you don't like using Kordek, don't do it. You can find either something else that you like working with if you don't like Kordek, or like Rainbow Gallery has some nice threads that are a little bit easier to work with, and there's conversions for those. If you don't like the shimmery, shiny stuff, you don't even have to do it. So I say just get started. Find a pattern that you like and just start. Just start. There's so much stitched area to begin with that by the time you get finished some of the regular normal cross stitches, you might feel like you want to try something different. Like maybe you haven't done beads before, maybe you want to try. So anyway, the whole point is that Suki and I are doing that together as a kind of a companion project, and I'm sure she's a lot further ahead than I am, and I need to check in with her and figure out how far she is. But I'll show that now. All right, and I have not worked on this since my last video, I don't think. Or if well, maybe I did. I can't remember. I can't remember if I worked on it after my last update or not. But anyway, I'll show you where I'm at, and somebody can say, no, okay, whatever. Anyway, so this is where I'm at. So, and I have this huge frame, okay? Someone asked me before, how are you beading as you go? Because I have some beads done in here, and it has all the beading. I have everything done up on her face and her hair. All of the beading is done. And I thought with this one, I'm going to bead as I go. Whereas with Roses of Provence, I didn't. I did all the beading at the end. So I had somebody ask me, well, how are you beading as you go? Isn't your frame, or isn't like your Q-snap or whatever you're working with, isn't that getting in the way? Like, so how are you going to move your fabric around inside the Q-snap or whatever you're using so the beads don't get crushed? So this is a 17 by 17 Q-snap. It's huge. And it fits on my Lowry stand. And I just position it up or down, you know, on my clamp. I just move it up or down as I'm working. And I'm just going to finish as much of it as I can. I think by the time I get to the bottom here, and maybe off here, some of her dress might not fit, but I'll either do it in hand or I'll figure out a way to do it. There's so much of it to get done while it's here in the Q-snap. I'm not worried about the bottom yet. So, and there's a lot of white a lot of white. Which reminds me, okay, so I'll show one more look on this one. She's so pretty. I love working on her. I hope it focuses okay. And the fabric on this is, I believe it's a 28 count Picture This Plus, and the color is Sprite. And I like 28 count with Mirabilias. I know the patterns call for 32 count, but if I'm using a witch elf fabric or something that's not hand dyed, I'll typically go with a 32 count. But if I'm doing hand dyed fabric, something that has gone through a dyeing process, usually it will shrink a little bit, so it's closer, instead of being 28 count, it's closer to 30 count or 31 count. It kind of depends, but I find that works best for me, because if I did a 32 count hand dyed, it would probably be closer to a 34 or 35, and that's too small for me. And the beads get all wonky when you're trying to fit them in, and then I don't like making all those adjustments to try and figure out how to get the beads all fit in. So for me, I'd rather be just like a 30 or 31 count rather than a 32, rather than going even smaller if I were to get a 32. So, but like I said, if I go with a witch elf that's like, here's the color, like I have some that I've kitted up that I'm using what the called for witch elf fabrics, I just go with the 32 count, because those are consistently 32 count. All right, so that's that one. So a minute ago in my chaos, I was saying, that reminds me. So I want to show you something. I had such a lovely gift from the Budget Stitcher. She sent me some floss. And when I say she sent me some floss, let me show you what she sent me. So the Budget Stitcher, in case you don't know, her channel used to be Joss Holm, Jocehom. That was her channel name. She's an amazing stitcher. She's got all kinds of projects on the go, all kinds of kits, all kinds of things kitted up. She's not joking around. She's got like some serious stuff. But she was so kind. When she placed an order for herself, she also placed an order for me for some floss. And she's like, hey, I got you some floss. I was like, oh, that's so sweet. And she's like, yeah, I'll send it to you. Well, I got it. Let me show you. 1 second. Okay. I will not need black DMC 310 or DMC white floss for the rest of my life. Look at these things. Like, it's like the size of my, look, it's like the size of my face, my head. Look at, oh my gosh. Thank you, Joss. Thank you so much. What an amazing gift. Because she knows how much white I have on all of my, I always pick projects that have white. I love snowmen. I love winter scenes, and they always have tons of snow. Roses of Provence was a huge white dress. And of course, my current Mirabilia is Sabrina, who has a huge white dress. And black, everybody needs black, because there's tons of black in backstitch and background and all kinds of stuff. So thank you, Joss. You're sweet. Really appreciate it. Okay. Where do I go from here? All right, so the fourth area of my quadrant, so we talked about full coverage, focus piece. We talked about fancy lady focus piece. So those two I've showed you. My third focus in my quadrant is typically having a Dimensions or a Dimensions Gold Collection kit on the go. I've kind of swapped these out through the year, because I started out the beginning of the year and I had a Santa stamp that I was working on, but then as I got a little bit past like February or March, I was like, I don't really want to work on a Christmas theme anymore, because it doesn't feel like Christmas anymore, and it was not winter anymore, and so I put that one away. And then I've pulled out a couple other ones and swapped them in and out. But the one that I'm currently working on right now is called Gift of the Eagle Feather, and I'll show it to you. I haven't got all this organized very well, but it's called Gift of the Eagle Feather. And I absolutely love this design. I love the design. I love the colors. It's fabulous. The artist is Craig Tennant. Super, super awesome art. And I will show you. I don't think I've done any on this since the last video. I think I showed this in my last video. I think I did. But anyway, this is, oh, I can't show you that. That's the pattern. Hold on. Hold on. What am I thinking? It's been too long. I haven't done this. Can't show you the pattern. Can't do that. Seriously. Come on. Needleberry, get your stuff together. Okay. So, I don't even have anything behind it to block it out. All right. So that is where I am at. I'm pretty sure I have no progress since my last video, but that's where I'm at. Really just the top part of the design. So that's that one. And I don't think I have anything more to say about that. It's the kit fabric. It's, what is it, 18 count? Yeah, it's 18 count beige Aida. And when I do dimensions kits, 9 times out of 10, actually probably closer to 9.9 times out of 10, I'll use the kit fabric, because why not? I like Aida. I'm not particular about fabrics so much. I love working on Aidas. I love working on even weave and linen. I love them all. So I figure, I paid for a kit. Why am I wasting fabric if I'm not going to do it on? So anyway, and for those of you who are interested, I have like these little alligator clips that I use. And this is kind of actually, it's probably been on there too long. I think I accidentally left it on too long, but so these little alligator clips, I went to Walmart or wherever you can get like the elastic stuff, and I just cut strips, like just cut small lengths of it. And I use these little alligator clips. And a lot of times I will use something in between the alligator clip and the fabric. Sometimes I'll just like put the end of this on there just to protect it and make it a nice firm hold on it. But when you're using stretcher bars, it's kind of nice to have you always have the fabric tight from top to bottom, but on the sides sometimes it can get a little bit loose depending on how you wind it on the stretcher bars. So when I have my little alligator clips on the side here, they pull it and it makes it nice and tight, because I like my fabric to be really, really tight when I'm stitching on it. I don't like it loosey-goosey at all. Just a preference. Some people don't like it too tight. They like it nice and loose. And some people stitch in hand, and I someday hope I can learn how to do that. But I've tried. My stitches get all really, really weird. And I think it's just going to be practice. But I don't think I'm going to do that anytime soon. Yeah. So, to all of you who do stitch in hand, you amaze me. It's amazing. Okay. Next thing I'm going to show you. Okay, I swung around way too fast. Okay, next thing I'm going to show you is a new start. I'm going to have to put a picture. Am I going to have to put a picture in? Or do I oh, I think I have a picture. This is a start that I did with Mama Carmen 2 on Instagram. If you don't know who Mama Carmen 2 is on Instagram, she's active. Like, I think every time I've like posted something on Instagram, or if I leave a comment, like she's there. She's answering comments. She is leaving comments. She's one of the most supportive Instagrammers, YouTube watchers that I've ever met. I mean, she's so supportive. She leaves the kindest comments all the time on everybody's videos, everybody's posts on Instagram. She is a darling. She is the sweetest ever. And I found out that she really liked this particular pattern, and I really like this particular pattern, and she hadn't started it yet, and I hadn't started it yet, so we proposed that we would start it together. And I think we were kind of thinking it'd be like a stitch along, like that type of a style, rather than a start along. But then when I lost my stitchy bug, I felt bad because we had started it, but then I think she's still working on it. So, you know, but I think whenever I work on it, when I pull it out again and I work on it, I'll let her know. But so if you're watching, Mama Carmen 2, if I do pull it out and I'm working on it, I will be thinking of you. And I'm sure we will be able to coordinate getting this back in a rotation at some point. So we're working on it at the same time. But stay tuned. We will figure that out. For now, where did it go? I'm sure I had this. I had a picture of this. Where did the picture go? Oh, here it is. It is supersized. I'm doing the supersized version of Beloved by Adele Sessler. I always have to look because it's backwards and I can't read backwards when I'm filming. I think that's really pretty. I love that it's a grayscale, kind of a monotone, which does not mean it doesn't have as many colors. I mean, it definitely doesn't have 200 plus colors, but it's definitely, I mean, if I looked at that, I'd be like, oh, there's probably like 15 or 20 colors. No, I think there's actually like 40 colors still in there. But anyway, it's a supersized version, which means it may never get done, but it's really fun to work on. So I did something really weird with this one, because I think this was getting toward the end of my, like, where I was starting to be like, oh, I'm losing my stitchy bug, what do I do? And so I did something kind of weird with this one. I have to take it out of the Q-snap, I think, to even show you what I did. You guys are gonna think it's so odd. I'm okay with that. It's odd. I totally agree it's odd. Let me take it out. So I started in the middle, and I did one 10 by 10 square in the very middle. And well, I'm gonna have to take the whole thing out. It's really weird. So then I did this thing where I put in, what's that app that you can do? I'll have to look it up. It's like the random Tiny Decisions. So in Tiny Decisions, I basically mapped out. So if I have a block in the center, I did 8. I did numbers 1 through 8 on a wheel. So I would spin it, and depending on what number came up, 1 through 8, that would tell me what direction to go to do the next block of 10. So for example, I had, and I don't even know what direction I started and came from, and I really do have to take this out. Okay. So I started in the middle, and it's got like this checkerboard kind of thing going on. It's super weird, you guys. It's just really, really, really weird what I did here. So I started here. This is actually the middle. And what happened was, I think I rolled a 1, or I spun a 1. So I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Because you can go in you can go in 8 different directions from here once I finish this. So I spun a 1, so I went in position 1. And then I did the same thing from here. I finished the block. And then I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Obviously, if I had spun a 5, I couldn't do 5 because I already did it. 6, 7, 8. And I rolled a 1. I spun a 1 again. So I went up here. And then I did a 1 again. And I was like, man, what's going on? And I finally got 3. So I went this way. And then I got 1 again. And now I got 2. So 1, 2. So does that even make any sense? Does that make any sense at all? It's like the goofiest thing I think I've ever done on a project. And again, I think I was just trying to make it like interesting and fun and entertaining somehow, because I was just like, oh, I don't feel like stitching as much right now. I don't understand why I'm not feeling like stitching. So I just like made a game out of it, and it helped for a while. Like I did get a little bit done on it, but as you can see, it's not a lot. So that's where it's at. And maybe from here, I don't know if I'll keep doing that like game. I don't know. But maybe I'll just go back and start filling in and maybe pick a page and just do the whole page. I don't know. Or maybe I'll just like keep going all the way up to the corner, like all the way up diagonal, and then start. Because my favorite place to start is always the top left-hand corner, which some people start in the top right, some people start in the top left on full coverage pieces, and I guess I've always just like top left. It feels like how you read a book, so no other particular reason than that. Okay, well, that's Beloved, and it's a full coverage. Yeah, it's gonna take decades to finish, but I'll have fun doing it. So that's that one. Okay, so I have one more piece that's full coverage that I started. It was after my last video I filmed in May, and I didn't get very far on it, but it's probably like the most colorful, one of my most favorite starts that I've ever had, and it's beautiful. And Suki the Brown Eyed Stitcher just hit 50% on this. She's doing it also, and she hit 50%, which is amazing. So I have my teeny tiny little start on it, which I did back in May, or the end of May, or when maybe it was early June, before I put it down. And it is wrinkled. Okay, it's Supersized Treasure Hunt Bookshelf by Amy Stewart. Anything Amy Sal, this fits that one. So if anything Amy Sal comes up that I'm working on an Amy Stewart, this is the one I'm going to pull out. Look at the colors. If you want to see what 50% looks like stitched up, go check out Suki, the Brown Eyed Stitcher. She's on Instagram. She posts almost every day her progress. I think probably every day her progress, and I just fell in love with this one. So I started it. And if I haven't mentioned, on any full coverage projects that I do, I always use 25 count Lugana. It doesn't matter what color. I sometimes will pick like white or antique white or bone or something, usually lighter color. I don't go with anything bold because whatever you don't stitch shows in the background, but I mean, usually white or antique white is what I pick, but it's always 25 count Lugana because it's just my favorite. It's what I started using when I did full coverage. Actually, I take that back. I started doing 28 count and found very quickly that was too hard on my eyes, and I found it a little bit too chunky for me, the way I like to stitch. And I don't do 1/1, not 1/1. I don't do 10 stitch. I don't do just like two strands, half stitch, or 10 stitch as people call it. I don't do that on full coverage. I always do full cross, 1/1 full cross. I just like that. I feel like it's like I'm finishing. If I'm only doing half stitches, it works fine if it's called for in the pattern, but there's something really weird in my brain that says, like, if I'm only doing half stitches on a full coverage, I'm not done. So that's something else I'd like to work on. I'd like to someday try starting a full coverage piece and do 2/1 10 stitch, half stitch. That's what I would like to do. But I didn't do it on this one because, again, it's another supersize that I want to spend the rest of my life pretending I'm going to finish. But you never know. You just never know. Maybe someday I'll get to retire and spend more time stitching and not allow my stitchy bug to go on random vacations anymore. But this is where I got to. Again, top left corner. And that's as far as I got. I started doing it a bit in the diagonal, as you can see. I don't know that I'm going to continue doing that, but it just kind of felt fun at the time. I kind of stitch however I want to stitch at the time. Sometimes I'll do diagonals, sometimes I'll do full page finishes, sometimes I'll do widths of like 20, like 2 10 by 10 blocks side by side and just work my way down. It's all over the place. It really is just whatever I feel like doing. So if you're looking for like it's like some people are very methodical. They always do it this way. I just don't. I like variety. So keeps it interesting for me. So I don't have that many techniques I can share with you other than like, this is what was working at the time. And sometimes I park and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I won't, like parking means I'm putting my threads off to the next place on the pattern closest by where I finished. I find the next stitch of that color and then park it. Sometimes I park. Sometimes I'll just like work the whole thread until it's gone and work my way in and then go back. And so random, very random. But this one I love, 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 love. I do have another Amy Stewart that I'm working on, and it's Birds and Blooms. And I haven't pulled that one out in a while, but that one is also one that I would just love to finish someday. If you guys watch Crafting in Colorado, Elisa, I think she's 90% done on it. Go check it out. Sorry, I'm like messing with like tangled threads now. Elisa _crafting in Colorado. Check out her videos. She's got, like I said, she's like over 90% done now. Amazing. It is so gorgeous. Now, she is like rock star monogamous stitcher, but she's not monogamous, but she's monogamous on her full coverage. So she does other ones interspersed, but she's like wicked dedicated to that one, and she's gonna get it done. She is gonna get that one done this year. It's amazing. All right. I think that's it. I talked about 3 quadrants, 3 of the quadrants in my quadrant, 3 of the quadrants in my quadrant, 3 of the blocks in my quadrant, because it's a quadrant because there's 4, so I did 3 of the 4. It's been a day. Ignore me. Okay, so the 4th quadrant, the 4th block, punch happy. The 4th one, I usually will reserve for some type of smaller project or something that's not a full coverage, something that's not a fancy lady, something that's not a Dimensions or other gold collection or Dimensions regular kit. The 4th block is typically something small. Like I did the fox from A Year in the Woods. I did that as my 4th quadrant thing. Usually it's something smaller because it feels good to have something smaller also as a focus piece, because then you get something done, right? Because if I've got like 3 or 4 huge focus pieces and I know none of them are going to get done in the current year because I'm stitching slow or maybe they're just ridiculously large, it's nice having that 4th part of the quadrant dedicated to a focus piece that I might actually get done. So I don't have anything in there right now. I don't have anything, but I think random thread. I think something I picked up today at Needlework Galleria is going to become a focus piece. So I'll show that to you. I'll show you a few of the things that I've picked up this summer. I don't remember if I showed you in my last video. I did pick up, at the time, the next one in the Year in the Woods series. I've got these 2. And again, I don't remember if I showed that I had these, but these are the last 2 that I got, and I haven't even checked to see like what are the latest releases. I'm sure there's probably 1 or 2 more since then, so I'm gonna have to go look that up. Might be having to do a 1, 2, 3 stitch order this weekend just so I can get caught up. And I did pick up I got a gift card for Amazon, and I picked up a couple of kits that were out on Amazon, some that I've always really wanted or have recently wanted. One of the Gold Dimensions kits that was out there that I liked, it's Cabin Fever. Sorry for the glare, but it's so pretty. It's got the little deer here, and it's got a gorgeous little log cabin along the river, and isn't that dreamy? That would be a lovely place to spend time stitching or curled up by the fire or something. I don't know, this appealed to me. So there's that one that I got with my gift card. And I got this one called Rose Cuttings. It's not a gold collection kit, but it is Dimensions. And I've always wanted this one. It was appealing. It always has been appealing. I think one of the reasons I didn't get it initially is because it's on 14 count, and 14 count Ada is okay, but it's sometimes, I guess it depends on whether it's calling for 3 strands over 1 or 2 strands over 1. Maybe it's my stitching style, but sometimes I find I can see the fabric through my stitches and it's not my favorite. So I typically like 16 count Ada when I work with Ada, or 18 count, but this one's 14 count and I'm going to give it a try someday. But I always wanted this one because it's just really, really pretty. And the 3rd one I got with my gift card was also a Dimensions kit. It's not a gold collection, but it's also one that I always wanted, and it's called Feasting Frenzy. It's so cute. I love birds. My husband is like has a whole cluster of bird feeders. Cluster? Is that the, I don't know. He's got like tons of bird feeders, a whole grouping of them outside, and he fills them all the time. Like every other day he's out filling the bird feeders, and all winter long and all summer long, and he loves birds, and I think I have an affinity for birds because he does. And so anyway, I think this would be a really pretty one to stitch up someday. So that's the 3rd one got with my gift card. What else did I get? I just realized I didn't show you, when I showed you my Sabrina, I didn't show you what Sabrina actually looks like. Maybe I should do that. So this is what she looks like when she's done. Hopefully I was smart enough when I'm editing to go ahead and put a picture in at the time that I actually showed you my progress. I think we're almost through. There's really not much left to show you. except for what I bought today. I can show you what I bought today. All right, I'm going to show you what I bought today. Now, if any of you know me and my stitching, my style, I like just about everything. Like, just about everything. The one area that I don't have a lot of patterns, not because I don't like them necessarily, but I never gravitated toward them, are samplers or samplers that are made to look like older samplers, or reproduction samplers of works that people actually did, young girls or whoever actually did in the 1800s. Like, those have not always appealed to me. I look at them and I love how they look. I think they're gorgeous, they're beautiful, but I've never just been pulled to or drawn to stitch them. Not because I don't like them, but because again, I like everything, and I don't have enough time to stitch on everything that I love. However, I do have some patterns that I see, or especially like today when I saw finished pieces. Okay, so Rosewood Manor was there at Needlework Galleria today, and they had the suite set up like it was like all of the what do you call them when they do them for the covers of the patterns? My brain. What do you call them when they stitch them up ahead of time? They're like the ones that they do on the cover. What is wrong with me? Size. Models. So when I walked in to Rosewood Manor Suite and saw all of the model stitches everywhere, all over the walls. They were even like lined up along the floor. They were all over tables. They were everywhere. And I fell in love with this one in particular. And I know it's not a reproduction sampler, but it is a sampler style pattern. I have a few from Rosewood Manor that I absolutely want to do someday. I love the Quaker samplers, the winter Quakers, spring, summer, autumn Quakers. Those are gorgeous. I'd love to do those. I don't have any of those patterns, and I don't have any of the Valdani threads for those, but that's on my list someday to get those. I do have one other kitted up, which I'll show you someday. I have videos like from earlier in 2022 where I did like, here's my full coverage whip parade, and here's my Dimensions Gold Collection and Dimensions Kit Parade. And I did Fancy Ladies, my Fancy Ladies kit parade of all of my whips. I still have a bunch of whips that I've never shown you guys. So I might do a video of all the other, like the non-grouped ones like I've already shown in videos. I might show you the other ones that I have. And I also haven't shown you all the things that I have kitted up, which isn't not a lot. There's really not a lot, but one of them that I have is a Rosewood Manor that's kitted up and ready to go. Okay, back to what I bought today when I almost hit the floor when I saw this pattern as a model stitched on the wall. I immediately walked in and it like caught my eye immediately across the room. And there were so many people in that room. It took me probably 10 minutes just to work my way around the little suite, like around the room, to get over there past people who were like going through patterns and going through, I mean, these rooms were full. It was a busy place today. And I finally made my way over to the model stitch and looked at it up close and was like, I have to have this. It's a sampler style, yes. But I fell in love with it. So without further ado, it is called A Tisket, A Tasket. Look at that. This does not do it justice, this picture. If you've ever seen it model stitched, if you've ever seen anyone who has done this picture does not do it justice at all. It is gorgeous stitched up. So I got the pattern, and I got, was it the silver needle that was there? There were a couple of cross stitch shops that were there today, and one of them had Weeks Dye Works threads, and that's what this is stitched with. It's all Weeks Dye Works, and I was able to get some of the colors, but not all of them, so I'll just put in an order on, again, 1, 2, 3 stitch probably, and get the ones that I couldn't get there. and then I need to get the fabric too. They said they had limited amounts of fabric, including the fabric that this is model stitched on, which is 28 count. Picture this plus. It's a fat quarter, so that's a plus. And the color is vellum, and it's model stitched on linen. So I am going to go ahead and order Picture This Plus vellum, a quarter, fat quarter, and do it on the model stitch. It was gorgeous done on that fabric, and I don't want to try and find something else. I want to do it on what it called for. It just, I think it's perfect. So I got this pattern. So nice. And this is what it has on the back, in case I just flashed it, but it was just showing some of the little designs that are inside that you can do alone. You can like take out some of the individual parts of it and just stitch them alone if you want to. So there's that one. And I got two other patterns. One of them is really sweet Christmas one, and it's a snowman, and I'm a sucker for snowmen. And here's all the week's dye works that I was able to get today. I think there's like 12. That's what I got. So I'm not going to go through them all individually. It's going to take a while, and we're already at 53 minutes, at least according to what I'm recording here. So this is, where did it go? It had, okay, let me show you the pattern first. It's called Frosty Weather. It's Blackberry Lane Designs, Frosty Weather, and next to it was a piece of the fabric that it was model stitched on with the polka dots, and I was like, well, if I'm gonna get the pattern, I'm gonna get the little piece of fabric to do it on. So thinking this might be my small focus piece, not next, but after I have something I want to do first, and then this might become the next one as we get closer to Christmas, when I get the other one done. So this was, isn't that so adorable? I love even the way it's finished. It's so cute. And some of it's stitched 2/2, and some of it's stitched 1/1. Like the snowman is 2/2, and then here this little birdhouse is 1/1 with the little birds. Like, so that'll be a fun one. So that will be one of my quadrant focus pieces. After this one, let me show you this one. It's from Stitch an Inch. Did I say that right? Stitch an Inch by the Bay Needle Art. And there's fall, spring, summer, winter. There's all the different seasons. I saw fall on the wall model stitched, and it's literally 1 inch tall, and it's 7 inches long, but you can do them as, let me show you, you can do them as individual squares, 7 individual squares you can do them, and they're just 1 inch by 1 inch, or you can do them all together, and it shows you how you can like line them up with the breaks, and you can do it as a full piece all the way across. This was done and hanging on the wall framed. It looks, this doesn't do it justice at all. It just doesn't. This is a computer generated image. It doesn't, the finished piece is stunning. Like it's only like 1 inch tall and 7 inches long. And it was absolutely stunning, the detail that was in it. So this is going to be my new 4th quadrant focus piece. It's small. There's only, let's see, what is the stitch size? All right, I'm doing it on 28 count, 1/1. Where am I not finding this? Oh, it's 28, obviously 28 because I'm doing it 1/1 on 28 count. It's 28 stitches, which is 1 inch, by 196. So it's like doing 7 10 by 10 blocks, right? No, 7 20 by 20 blocks, right? Yeah, 20, no, I cannot do math. I cannot do math. If it's 28 tall, then it's 200. Okay, just not doing math today. Not doing it. But you get the drift. You get the drift. It's like 1 inch, 28 stitches tall, 1 inch tall, 7 inches across, 28 count, 1/1. So I'm going to start this. I have the fabric. It's all DMC for the threads, except for one, which I got today. There's one Weeks Dye Works thread. It's called Sunset, and it's this, so I'm guessing it's going to be the skies, right? It's going to be the sky in all of this, and it'll be nice. It's not cute. Oh, so pretty. Yeah, it's called Sunset. So this is my next piece I'm going to start. It's going to be something hopefully I can get done fairly quickly. I don't know. We'll see. All right, and the rest of the stuff I got was fabric. I'll show you. I got four pieces of fabric from Fabrics by Stephanie. I got, let's see, this is a 28 count fat quarter, and it's called Nantucket Sky. Don't know if the light is true here, but it's like a nice sky blue. To me, it looks like a sky color. So if I'm doing a Mirabilia or an Corbett pattern or something that where it just needs to look like sky or water, it could be an underwater. I think this, or an angel. Okay, here's something else. I told you I'm going to be on these random tangents. It's been so long since I've talked to you. I, to this point, for some reason, and I know I said I like just about everything, and then I said except for some samplers and reproduction samplers, and the other series of patterns I never jumped into were Joan Elliott patterns. Now, Amanda from Lucky Chance Stitcher, I think she's convinced me that I might like some of the Joan Elliott's. Just saying. I, again, haven't gone out and rushed out and gotten a bunch of her patterns, but today I found a whole like bin thing full of Joan Elliott patterns, and I was going through them, and I saw some patterns from Joan Elliott that I thought were gorgeous. And there were a couple that I thought, I'd already bought this fabric, and I immediately saw the Joan Elliott patterns and I was like, oh my gosh, that would look so pretty on the Nantucket Sky. So, Amanda, you might have convinced me that I need to start seriously considering Joan Elliott patterns. So, you have enabled me. Thank you. I think. Anyway, the next one is Fabrics by Stephanie. It is 32 count. Oh, and this one, by the way, I said it was, did I say what it was? It's an even weave, or like a Lugana. It doesn't have it marked on here, but I'm looking at it and it's definitely, this is definitely a Lugana. So, in case you're wondering. The next one is linen. It's a 32 count linen, and it's a fat quarter. And it's called Summer Breeze. Let's see if I can get this one open. It's another blue, but it's a little bit darker. Oh, I think it's so pretty. Such a pretty color. So that's the next one. Beautiful modeling in it. Not overwhelmingly modeled, but it's enough that it just, oh, it's just perfect. Perfect. I don't like things that are too splotchy, but I don't like them when you can't see any modeling at all. So this was perfect. The next one is called Isolde, and it's a 32 count linen fat quarter, also by Fabrics by Stephanie. Isolde, if I can get it open. And this is that one. It's a lovely purple color. Hopefully you can get an idea of the colors. It's gorgeous. Isn't that beautiful? I love colorful fabrics. I love them. And then the next one is my fourth fabric I got from Fabrics by Stephanie, and it's 28 count linen and another fat quarter, and it's called Silver Mist. Now I've been looking for just the right color of silver, or like a gray silver color, and as soon as I saw this, it was exactly what I was looking for. And I've ordered a couple pieces of fabric online thinking that it was what I was looking for, and when they arrived, they just were not quite what I thought they were going to be based on what I saw on the screen. You know, it's just hard. It's really hard when you're ordering online to know if the color you get is what you're seeing on the screen. This one is exactly what I was looking for. It's just, it's perfect. I have a couple of patterns that I've been looking for, kind of a silvery color. So that's my fabric from Fabrics by Stephanie. And then I got 3 more pieces of fabric that were prepackaged, and it was from, I think it was from the Silver Needle. Was it from the Silver Needle? Where was it from? I don't have the receipt here. I think it was. They just had like a whole bunch of bins of like fabric that was prepackaged, so I went through it and just found a few colors that I thought were really pretty. One is a 28 count linen fat quarter by Picture This Plus, and the color is Oaken. Take it out. I was going to show you when it's in the bag, but that's not going to help you see the color. This is Oaken, and I've seen this one on 1-2-3 Stitch before and thought, I wonder what that's like in real life. And when I saw it, I thought, oh, that's really pretty. It's a nice brown. It's a nice mottled, kind of like a, it's got gold in it, like, hard to explain. It's kind of like natural linen with some golden brown mottled through it. I really like it a lot. I like it a lot. So there's that piece that I got. And then I got 2 green colors because I don't think I have a lot of green fabric, and I don't like bright green, but I don't like dark green. I'm kind of picky with my greens. Green's my favorite color, so I'm a little picky about the colors of green that I like. But it's a fabric from Rogue Fabrics. That was new to me. I had not heard of Rogue Fabrics. Maybe you guys have. So these were from Inspired Needle, by the way. It says it on the label. This is a 28 count fat quarter of Lugana, and it's in the color Pistachio. And it's a little bit more, it's not getting the color exactly right. I don't know why it's not getting the color right, but it is like a pistachio green in real life. Maybe it's not showing up right, but I love the modeling in this one. It's a little more modeled, like splotchy modeled than I'm used to, but I actually really like it a lot. I think because the colors are not too different from each other. But again, that's just personal preference. We all like something different, and that's okay. And then the last thing that I got, the last piece of fabric is the fabric is WDY. Why don't I know that acronym? What fabric dyer starts with WDY? Who is the fabric dyer WDY? I'm gonna look it up after this because I didn't know, but when I saw it, I thought that's absolutely lovely color. And it's a 32 count fat quarter of Lugana, and the color is called Algae. And this is a little bit brighter green than I'm used to, that I usually do, but you know what would look really good on this? I think there's some nice little fairies that would look nice on this. Either the Nora Corbett's fairies or Mirabilia fairy. And it's not showing how, it's a much brighter green than what it's showing here. I wish it would show up the right color, but it is a brighter green. It's more like a grass, like a bright grass green. And I think I'm imagining some fairies on this. Some little winter, not winter, some like nature fairies or some type of woodland fairies or some type of fairies are going to go on this. So that's it. I mean, that's it for stitching. It's already gone really long. I don't know. I don't have, if you have made it this far, and if you've made it this far and you want to stay around, and I can tell you a little bit about my summer. Not exciting, not crazy, just not a lot of stitching. And I can share that a little bit. If you don't want to listen to that part, thank you for stopping by. And I hope you have a wonderful stitchy week or month or however long it is till we meet again. And so for those of you who want to stick around, I can tell you a little bit about my summer. So I don't know why I lost my stitchy bug. I don't know. I think I just needed a break. One thing that did happen, I started getting really frustrated at work, at my job, and part of it was because I was just working crazy. I was working a lot, and it was very stressful, a lot of project deadlines, and I work in IT, but I also do a lot of like design work. I would do a lot of, I gather system requirements, and I work with the different I work on software, and I work with the software customers, and I help them understand what they want, and then I help them build it. And then I feel like I kind of do a little bit of everything. A lot of it's project based, and projects are supposed to go through a process where they put in requests for what they want. After we've defined what they want, they put in a budget for it, and then it goes through a project review, and they pick the projects that are the most important across all of the company, and they approve them. Or if they're not the highest priority projects, then they'll put them on hold, or they'll just say, you know what, we're not going to do that this year, or they just deny them, or whatever it happens to be. So it has to go through a review process. Well, so they had projects that were approved for this year to work on, and we were working on them, and then out of the blue, some of these projects that were not approved for 2022 started to surface, and they said, well, we still need to get these done. It's like, it's not approved. I mean, you can't do work that is not approved. It's like, well, yeah, we can. We still need that. I'm like, but we have all this other work that's approved. And when it's approved, it's based on how many resources we have, people, how much money we have to fund it, how much time we have, because there's only so much you can get done in a period of time. So it goes up through all this review, and it's fully, the projects that are approved are sized according to all of those things. And so when all of a sudden we're getting these other projects that didn't meet those requirements coming in, and they're saying, well, we need to get our stuff done too. Well, we need to get more people. Well, we can't find people, or we don't have people. It's post-COVID, everybody's leaving, right? So it's getting really frustrated. So at the end of the day, a lot of the work was falling on me, because I have a skill set, and this isn't like a braggy thing. It's just I have a skill set that I have developed over the last 4 years that it's kind of a niche software that I work on that not a lot of people have worked on before, but it has exploded in the last 3 or 4 years, where there are just like, I think there are maybe 200 software customers when I first started working on it, and now there's like 1,200. So like all of a sudden all these companies want to implement this software, and there's no resources who have experience. So in my company, I was the only person who really knew how to do it. Anyway, I couldn't do it all. I just couldn't do it all, and they were expecting it all. And it was unrealistic, and it was burning me out, and that's probably partly why I kind of just got burned out on cross stitch too. I was just burned out in general. And I started interviewing in May for another position locally, and that position, I ended up, they liked me. They said, oh, we want to move forward with some more interviews, and I was like, no. And I said no to it, and my gut was telling me it wasn't the right fit. But the recruiter kept calling me and saying like, no, this is a great opportunity. It's a bigger company, and it's got all this, it's a bigger team, so you wouldn't be doing everything by yourself, but you'd learn so much. And as soon as you take the call, you're doomed, right? I mean, that's just kind of how it works with recruiting. Like, just, if you're not looking for a move, don't take the call. So when he called me, and I was listening, and I said, no, I don't really want to move forward. And he convinced me I should. So I did another round of interviews, which is like the 3rd round of interviews. And they offered me the job. So I was like, well, I don't hate where I'm at. I'm overworked and getting burned out where I'm at, but this could be an opportunity to have more a bigger team and maybe more people working on the work, so it's not just me all the time, or maybe it may be me feeling like it's just me all the time. So I ended up giving my notice and didn't go over very well with my manager. She got a little icy, which is unfortunate because we were friends before we worked together, and she actually she contacted me when she had a position open and said, hey, come and work with me, come work for me. And so I worked with her for 4 years. So when I gave my notice, I knew it would be difficult, but I didn't know she was just gonna like just shut off and just completely disconnect, like we'd never been friends before. And that was really hurtful. It hurt a lot. When you have friends and it's unfortunate. It was an unfortunate thing, but I felt like it was what was best for me at the time. So I gave my notice of the job. I spent 2 weeks fully transitioning as much of what I had on my plate to other people, which from what I've been told of people who still work there, that hasn't really been an issue. Everyone's been able to pick up the works. The stuff that that was unrealistic in the first place, again, got dropped. So I felt like they were abusing the fact that I was just like able to do stuff or willing, or wasn't saying no at the time. So that's, lesson learned. Don't, just because they say this is what we're doing, you don't have to agree to it if you can't do it. So, so I started my new job. I took a little time off. I went to visit my family who live in Canada. I live in the United States in Missouri, and my parents live in Eastern Canada in the Maritime provinces. So I went up to visit them for a week, which was really, really nice. It was the first time I'd been able to go up to visit them since before COVID. And 2 years I hadn't seen them. It was just 2.5 years really. And that was very much needed. I really needed to go see them. So that was good. And then started the new job in the middle of July. And still, again, this is like all this transition stuff, like between jobs. It's just, I don't know why it's so stressful. But it just is. I think part of it is like the people part of it is stressful, and then the change is stressful, and then you're like meeting new people, and then I'm not a people person. You guys, I've talked about that in videos before, where I'm a little awkward in groups, and I do pretty well in business environments because it's professional. Until working with my new manager, he's not so professional. He's kind of uncomfortable to be around, and unfortunately I've been there since July, August, so it's been like a little over 2 months, and I don't know if it's gonna work out. He won't give me any work to do. I literally sit at work and say, hey, what can I do? What can I help you with? And he's like, oh, well, just, do some documentation or read some stuff or watch some videos. And I'm like, okay. But then I'll come up with ideas. Like one of the things that I think I do well, or I try to do well, is being in IT, there are always opportunities to look for ways of making things efficient, faster, automated, basically taking a process or a chain of work and just making it better. It's something that I really love to do, and it's something I think I've always been told that I'm pretty good at. So in the absence of being given anything to do, I was asking for, a little taking initiative, little autonomy, and coming up with ideas of like, I've seen this and this, and I think this would be a good improvement. Every idea that I've had since I've been there, maybe except for one, my manager's like, nah, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. If I hear that one more time from anywhere, I am so sick of hearing the juice isn't worth the squeeze. Meaning the effort that would go into doing that isn't worth the outcome, right? The gain in performance or the efficiency or whatever. You're spending more time to fix it than it's worth in return. And in many of the cases, I didn't agree with him because I think I was coming up with some pretty solid ideas that I could knock out pretty quickly. He doesn't maybe think he could knock them out that quickly because I don't think he's as technical as I am, but in his mind, he thought it was just going to be like, oh, that would take 3 weeks. And I'm telling him, no, it would take like an hour. And he was just like, no, we're not going to do that right now. So he's not giving me any work to do. He's not transitioning any work to me. He's not accepting any of my ideas for work that I think I could do. I mean, wouldn't you want your team, your people that work for you, to be doing something, even if it was like a 3-week effort? Like, you'd rather me just sit bored doing very little for 3 weeks that you're paying me, rather than me being productive and doing something? I totally don't, we're not jiving, me and my new manager, at all. My 3rd week into the job, this is like a total like session right now, like you guys are my counselors. My 3rd week into my job, the senior leader of our department had scheduled some time to talk to me, and she was just like, I just want to make sure you're feeling like you're fitting in with the department, everything's going well, and we value your opinion. You come from another company that is using the same software, so you have another experience set that we're interested in hearing your ideas and everything. And I mean, it was a very, very nice conversation. She's super supportive. Her and I seem to, I have no problem, like we get along really well. I think we're on the same page. So I had been contributing in some meetings, and when I saw something, I spoke up, like, oh, I've seen this done like this, you know, other place that I worked. And did that in one particular meeting with my manager on the call. After that meeting, there were probably maybe 10 or 12 people that I was, you know, I was giving my ideas, or, you know, I actually showed them stuff in the software. You know, you can do the screen share in meetings because everyone was calling in and you do the screen share. So I was showing them some stuff, and after the call, my manager called me, and this is burned into my brain, the way he said it and the words that he used. He said, I wanted to tell you to shut up in that call. I was like, excuse me? It's like, what did I say wrong? What did I do? Like, I don't understand. Like, did I say something that offended someone? I had no clue. Like, what did I do? He was like, well, you explained something in a way that we don't explain it that way. And I'm like, what? Essentially what it came down to was, in very simple terms, let's say in the software, there are apples and there are oranges. And I called the apples apples, and I called the oranges oranges. And he told me that that's too confusing for people. I've been telling everybody that everything is an orange. So that's how I'm training people. And I'm like, but that's not accurate. The apples are not oranges. The apples are apples. He's like, it doesn't matter. It's too confusing to try and train people to say that they're differences. So we just call them all oranges. And I'm like, well, number one, that's not accurate. Number two, how would I know that? I'm new. How would I know that you're telling people that something's not true and inaccurate and training them incorrectly? Like, again, my manager and I are not on the same page. So later that day, I contacted him again and I said, look, I don't know what I did wrong. I completely apologize for if I said something inappropriate in that call. I'm still not quite understanding what I did, but certainly you'll just have to give me some guidance if I need to avoid certain topics or whatever. And he was like, oh, that's just my sense of humor. I was just joking. You'll get used to it. I'm like, I am not going to get used to having a business partner, someone I work with, telling me to shut up in meetings, like in a nasty, disrespectful, condescending way. That's not going to fly for me. So that was red flag number one. Red flag number two was a few days after that, when we were in the office. We're hybrid, so some days we go to the office, some days we work from home. We were in the office. I have another coworker. We're all kind of in the same department. My manager stood up in his desk and talked over the wall to my coworker. There's a little wall, a half wall there, and started like just hammering him with questions. He was just like, well, what about this? Da, 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 and just like question. And then says, you piece of blank. I'm not going to say it. I don't talk like that. And walked away. And I'm like, what did he do that you would call him a piece of blank? I'm sorry. That is, again, disrespectful. I'm new. I have no rapport with anyone there. I have no rapport with my manager. I'm new. And I'm hearing that if I don't behave or do something that if I do something he doesn't like, he's gonna come over and start calling me that, that's not gonna fly either. So red flag number 2. And it's just been like, it's just been a series of like thing after thing after thing with him where I'm so uncomfortable. He's not funny. He thinks when he insults people that it's funny. I'm like, he's immature. His language is atrocious. I mean, there are things that I just don't even watch on TV because the language is that bad. He's like that in the office. It's unprofessional. And when you add that with him and the way he's behaving, and on top of not really having anything to do, I feel like they really don't need me there. I'm not sure why they hired me, because he's still doing everything and I'm not. Anyway, people are like, well, just give it a couple of months. I'm like, I don't know if I want to give it a couple of months. It's just, I've given it a couple of months and I don't see things changing. Not if he's going to talk to me like that. So that's been my stress of like this whole transition. It's like, it's like, you can't regret things, but I do wish that maybe I had stuck with my gut feeling when I said no at the beginning, when I was interviewing, and I was like, nah, it doesn't feel right. And I said no, and then they talked me into continuing the process, and then I took the job. But yeah, I mean, and I'm not going to say I regret leaving my old job. Not necessarily. I mean, there were definitely some things that need to be different. They needed to be different. It wasn't perfect, but I wasn't that unhappy. I wasn't unhappy enough to leave without the push of the people in the interviewing process and the recruiters. And so, not regret, but I've learned from this, like, stick with your gut feeling if you think that something is going to work out. So now I'm back looking for another job, which is fine. I mean, right now is the best time if you're looking for work and you've got some, any kind of, there's work out there. So I'll find something else. And I've connected in with a few people in my network who have already said, like, hey, I've got some job openings, like, come talk to me. And I was like, okay. So I've had lunch with a few people and who have positions that they're filling, and something will work out. It'll be fine. But so that's my drama from work. Let's see, what else? I went to Los Angeles the first week of August with my old college friend who, let's see, I met her in 1992. 92, 93 was my first year of college, and she was my roommate, and we were just like best of friends that year, and we've kept in touch ever since. Our lives are very different. We live very far apart from each other. We've had phases where, we're out of touch, but then we're back in touch again, and it's like old times. It's like time doesn't pass. Like, how you have friends like that where it's like 4 or 5 years can go by, which I know sounds like a long time, but when life happens, right? But time will go by, and then you get to talking again or texting, and it's like, it's just like time never passed. So we had not seen each other, like physically seen each other since probably, not since that 1 year of college, but it's probably been at least 20 years, I want to say. Probably at least 20 years. So we met up in LA. We both said, let's do it. Let's spend a week together. She flew in, I flew in. She's from up in Canada, and I'm living here in the middle of the United States now, and so we had a good week. We did things in LA. We hiked up the Hollywood Hills up to the Hollywood sign. That was really fun. It was a steep incline at the very top, so warning if you ever are there and you're doing that. It's like the last, I don't know how long it was. It felt like forever. Was like this. Like I was chugging. But I made it. I made it to the top. I was the last one, but I still did it, and that counts. And then we went to Laguna Beach, and we spent a couple nights there. We had a little B&B along the ocean, which was really cute, and it was just fun. It was fun to reconnect with her, and it was fun to get away too. It was fun. Trying to think of what else this summer. My daughter's dog. If you guys know that my youngest daughter's dog was staying with us earlier in the spring. He was a puppy, and he turned 1 year old in April, and he came to stay with us in March because my daughter was in between. The place she was living, her lease was up, and she was moving temporarily to another place in a townhouse with some people and they didn't allow dogs there. So he was staying with us. Her dog was staying with us until she was able to get into that next apartment situation that allowed dogs again. So we didn't really have an idea of how long that was going to be. We were kind of hoping it would just be a couple months, but it was kind of open-ended, which was also stressing me out a lot because he's a puppy and he was big. Like, he's got Husky in him. He's got Great Pyrenees in him. And he was a very nervous dog. Like, he was great around us, but he didn't like other people who came in the house. He had a confidence issue. And my daughter was already planning to get training for him, but she was waiting until she got settled into the next living situation. And then she was going to get the training. And but in the meantime, he did not like anyone new coming in the house. He didn't like my older daughter's fiance coming over. Every time he would bark and bark and bark and bark and growl. And then he would like get manic and he would run circles around the living room in the house, and he would hide, and he was just a mess. I felt so bad for him. He's the sweetest dog. He's like the best dog ever, except for when he's not confident, like when he's scared, when he has like strangers coming in. And just, you know, my daughter has had him to training since then, and he's doing so much better. He's also living with her now. So as of the end of July, she moved into an apartment. So he was with us from March until July. And we did fine. Like, we worked it out. We figured it out. He was a lot of energy, a lot of, you know. He had a little bit of a shoulder injury too, because I think he runs hard in the backyard. He was just running. And I think he might have got a tear in his shoulder. So he was limping a little bit. So we had to keep him, which is even harder to do because he's like a dog that has tons of energy, but we're having to like keep him from straining it even more. But it worked out. So he's living with her now, and they're doing great, and she's happy to have him back, and we're glad, like, he can come and stay with us anytime. But I'm a little bit relieved, not because I have 2 dogs of my own, so, and they're littler dogs, so they're a little easier to manage. But yeah, my daughter's dog, Ghost, such a sweetheart, but he was a little, we weren't ready to have another puppy in the house. I guess, put it like that. My dogs are like 10 years old, so they're kind of settled, and yeah, so having 3 dogs in the house is something, but we did it. We got through it, and yeah, he's a sweet dog, and my daughter is just, she just loves him to death. So we love when she brings him over too. So I mean, I don't know what else I did this summer. Like, I feel like the summer went by so fast. The other thing that was a bit of an accomplishment for me is that I was able to lose some weight. Been carrying extra weight for a long time, and it obviously, it bothers me because I don't really want to have the extra weight. It's starting to bother my knees, starting to, like, I wasn't sleeping really well, and like just all the things that come when you have extra weight on, right? So I decided to make some changes, and so far, since I weighed myself at the beginning of May, and I was at the highest weight I've ever been ever, and that was like, okay, I can't do this anymore, and I've lost 40 pounds since then, which I'm really happy about. I still have a little more to lose. That's okay. I feel really good about having lost 40 pounds, so I'm gonna keep working at that, and I think that's about it. So if you stuck around this long, you are like super brave, and I mean, it's really not all that interesting. My life's not interesting at all. I work, now I'll be back to stitching, which is great. Yeah, I think the fall is going to be looking a whole lot better than the summer. I mean, not that the summer was bad, but just like work's just, you know, can I just retire already? I don't want to work anymore. I don't want to work anymore, but I have to. I mean, you know, you get bills and stuff. I'm too young to retire, so yeah. Too old to be useful to my kids, but too young to retire from work. It's like that middle stage. I have more time now, so I'm going to do more stitching. I'm just going to use my time to stitch. So I think I'm going to end my video here because I don't think I have anything else to talk about. I think we're all caught up, and I'll try not to leave it too long until the next update. And I'll have more to show you next time too. Like, I'll actually have a little bit more progress done, I hope. So until next time, happy stitching everyone, and I wish you all the best. So take care. Bye.